And welcome back. Great to have your company. I'm sure you'll all agree that vacant shop fronts and business premises aren't a good look around town, are they? Well, for some time now, we've had an organisation working hard to solve the problem. It's called Renew Adelaide. And they negotiate special deals to give budding entrepreneurs and so forth a suitable property at a reasonably good rate, let's say. Tim Boundy is CEO of Renew Adelaide and he's with me now. G'day, Tim.
Hi, Alan. Great to be here.
Thanks for coming in, mate. And we've also got Caleb Sweeting, who's benefited from Renew Adelaide's work. How are you, Caleb?
Yeah, good. How are you? We'll
get to your story in a moment. But, Tim, can we just start with you? Renew Adelaide, we've probably heard the name, but exactly how does it operate? Technically, where did it come from?
Well, Renew Adelaide is really about backing people with great ideas. That's at the heart of what it is. It started with a group of really passionate people about 7 or 8 years ago, seeing the myriad of vacant shop fronts across Adelaide, and particularly on Hindley Street at the time, and said, there's surely a way we can get access to them to give people an opportunity to really test, trial, experiment with new ideas. And from that kind of brainwave, Renew Adelaide was born. So
it was a combination financially between the state government at the time and also the city council?
So it was originally led by a group of volunteers with no funding other than their own sweat equity, really. And from there, because of the impact of what they were doing, it garnered support from the City of Adelaide, who are one of our strong supporters at the moment as well as the state government of South Australia. So that kind of that funding that we received through them was really came off in the back of some really good results early on through this group of volunteers.
It's amazing that it started just with a volunteer group, isn't it?
It's fantastic, and I think it's it shows you what passionate and committed citizens can do when they see a problem and come up with a solution and really put it into action.
If you've got a question or a comment about this, give us a call, 8223 0000. We're talking about Renew Adelaide. Great organisation with a pretty fine track record thus far. Have you got any figures about what businesses you've actually been able to sort of assist?
Yeah, so over the course of those 7 years, we've helped 117 new businesses start either in the city, in Port Adelaide, and then some of our early years were on Payneham Road, out in the St Peters district, as well as in Prospect as well. Now we just focus our activities kind of on the CBD core as well as North Adelaide as well, and we've seen some really good results out of that. We have what we call a success rate from graduating from our rent-free program onto a commercial lease, coming up to about 50% at the moment over the last few years, which is really positive to see. I might just explain kind of how that system works.
Yeah, no, if you could. You mentioned rent-free, so everyone's ears would have spiked up at that. What does that mean?
So what it means is Renew Adelaide approaches property owners that have vacant commercial property. We say to them, look, no one's using it at the moment. How about, while it's unused, we go out and find someone that's got a really cool idea, and Renew Adelaide itself will take out the head licence over the property. That way that gives them a bit of assurance that the property is going to be looked after, and then we sub-license to a tenant on a rent-free basis. And so the value for a property owner there is really about getting their property activated. They put in the tenant or Renew Adelaide has some funding as well to put in some capital works to the property. So it increases the amenity of the property. And it also goes on to a 30-day rolling licence. So that means at any point either party can give 30 days notice to vacate. What that means for a property owner is there's no opportunity cost. If a paying tenant comes along, they can provide 30 days notice to our tenant to vacate, and so they can take the paying one. Similarly, for a person starting a new business, they're not locked into a 5-year commercial lease, which can be daunting or prohibitive for some people. And so what that allows them to do is test their business idea. If it's going really well, they can graduate onto that commercial lease. Alternatively, not going as well, there's a really soft way to exit without having to default on a commercial lease.
So how long does the rent-free period last?
So it's a 30-day rolling licence, which theoretically means it goes on indefinitely. But really what we tend to find is after about 7 or 8 months, these people that are involved in these really cool projects kind of get a really good idea about the kind of how it's going and whether they want to commit long-term. And that's kind of the trigger for going on to commercial lease. Alternatively, if it's not going as well as they like, they can either stay in the space until the property owner finds a new tenant, or we can try and reactivate it with a different Renew Adelaide project as well.
Okay. What criteria do you use then to consider how long that period is? Because I would imagine if I was not coming at it from the right direction, I'd say, well, hang on, I can get a lease-free premises here for the next 4 years.
Yeah, theoretically,
if I want to spin the system like that.
Yeah. And I guess what we do is we keep in close contact because we hold the head licence. We've got a little bit of power in that position. Not to say that we would exercise it in a malicious way, but we really are about keeping in touch with the business and seeing if we can provide them with support or direct them to the right people so they can get support for their business if they're wanting to continue on. I guess what that 30-day rolling licence also means is there's not a long-term security for the tenant. And so if they're building a retail business in a specific location, it's actually really hard to maintain staff, sign contracts with suppliers, and so actually having that security is really important for small businesses.
So the incentive is there
that's
to
really
make
the
them
trigger
work.
to go to the next
absolutely.
level. So we haven't actually come across that experience where people try and just milk it for as long as possible.
But 50% success rate, that's pretty good, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's, what's really important here is that there's private property owners that are providing their property rent-free to us. They don't receive any subsidy through our funding. They're providing it rent-free, trying to back people with great ideas. I think that success rate is really, yes, it's a great, a result for the entrepreneur that's gone in and tested a new business idea, but it's a fantastic return for the property owner as well.
Who pays for power and water and that sort of stuff?
So the tenant still is liable for all of their consumables, any of their business operating costs, waste disposal, that sort of thing. And the property owner still maintains their own insurance on the property as they would, and also pay their council rates too.
Caleb, let's come to you. You're an absolute success story as far as this is concerned.
Yeah.
What's your operation?
Yeah, so I run a magazine in Adelaide here called YEWTH, so it's YEWTH, and basically that started...
Not very good spelling, mate. Not a good example to the youth of Australia.
Yeah. So it basically started as a Year 12 research project with just me solely, and now it's reached the stage 4 years later where we've got a team of us with 3 other people that are partners with me in the business, and basically Renew Adelaide, we've been in the space for about a year now, and that's just located on Flinders Street, so 55 Flinders Street, and it's obviously when I started I never thought that this print magazine, which was to do one issue, would grow into, we've done 10 issues down the line, where a quarter we print every quarter, and we also have an online blog, we do video content, and basically what having this space enabled us to do was to grow our business from just printing this magazine and doing this online content to going, we can actually do all this in-house. We've set up the photo studio. We've been able to have other creatives come into the space because it's quite a big block. We also throw events out of there. The opening party, we had about 100 people come through with Adelaide's Bad Dreams, and where my desk is situated now is where the band played, so that gives you some perspective of how big it is.
Yeah.
So it's really been, if we didn't get this office space, and I remember speaking with Renew Adelaide about where the magazine would go and what was actually going to happen with the space, and it gave us the room to use our imagination and go, okay, where can youth go? If we didn't have this space, it would have been a matter of working out of cafes as I'd done for 2 or 3 years, and just that adds to your costs of buying coffee all the time and all this other stuff. So having a location where you can meet up and meet with publicists who are coming to town, because we do a lot of music content, so reviews and interviews with bands, being able to take them to where our office is on Flinders Street in quite a prominent business area is great for us and adds legitimacy to our brand. Yeah.
Caleb, it's amazing. This started out, as you said, as a Year 12 personal project.
Yep.
And now it's spun 4 years later into a thriving business.
Yeah. So, I mean, we had the backing of Renew Adelaide a bit earlier than this, actually. So in 2014, when I started it, I launched the magazine at Created Range, which was a previous Renew Adelaide property in Regent Arcade, which was there for about three and a half years, maybe. Yeah, it's only been quite recently. It was about Christmas last year that it tied up and ended. But Dave Court, who used to run that, is actually our creative director as well.
Right, okay.
So we kind of met through the last Renew Adelaide property where I was able to launch the magazine, and through that I was able to meet quite a lot of people. So Renew
was it a difficult decision on your behalf to actually launch a paper magazine? Because everything, in the new world of online, to actually have a magazine to wave in someone's face.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to have print still on the streets in Adelaide. I mean, losing Rip It Up and other publications like that, I think people, even though they're younger, like I'm in my early 20s, like people around our age still appreciate print. It just costs a lot. And I mean, maybe at the time I didn't realise how much it would cost, but it's growing to the stage where we can keep it going. It's definitely tough, but with this space it's been a lot easier, and we've been able to grow into a bit more of like a content creation marketing agency, which is what you kind of need to back a publication like that.
It's great to see, just on another note, that there's two areas here. That there's the youth market, not online. Well, it's online, but there's a magazine, a physical magazine to hold, which you just wouldn't have thought would be, a viable option these days.
Well, I mean, people who are aspiring journalists and photographers, it's still, that feeling of having your name in print or your photo in print is a different feeling to have it online. It's special,
Tim, this is a classic example, isn't it? It's been through two of your programs. This one organisation.
Yeah, the story behind YEWTH is fantastic, and Caleb just reminded me of how the Youth Mag and Caleb and Dave actually got together in the first place through Dave having his own retail store in Region Arcade, which was quite successful. He ran that for 3 years, for a while on the Renew program, then graduated onto a commercial lease with the property owners there, the Genos Group, who are a fantastic supporter of Renew.
We're talking about Renew Adelaide. If you've got any questions for the team, give us a call, 8223 0000. And it's just coming up 10 minutes away from 2 o'clock. Great to have you aboard. We've got Tim Boundy from Renew Adelaide with us, and also Caleb Sweeting, who's got a very successful organisation running. It's YEWTH magazine, spelt oddly, but it's still a good read. It's YEWTH. Yes, okay. Did you pass year 12? No, we won't go there. Tim, we've talked about the success of Renew Adelaide. The message I'm getting, this is on two fronts. It's all about ideas, but it's also all about making Adelaide look better as far as having not as many vacant signs up around town. Yeah,
it certainly is. And I guess there's the two sides to this coin of the entrepreneurs out there in Adelaide, or people with ideas that they really want to try, and then also the property industry that has really backed Renew Adelaide from the start and provided these properties for these people.
Did it surprise you that they did back it so much?
Look, I think what we've developed is really good relationships with, I guess, a myriad of property ownership styles in terms of just mum and dad investors who might own one or two commercial properties, the large family property groups that we've got across Adelaide, and then some of the institutional investors, that are backed by superannuation funds. They all hold property for different reasons, and so it's about tapping into why they own the property and really working with them on an activation strategy that suits their needs and their desires for the property as well. And I think that's probably been the core reason that we've been successfully working with the property industry, because they've really been a partner in the process rather than just a customer, if you will.
Now, previously you've been really, well, as far as I understand, it's been a case of the shopfront properties, but it's actually backroom properties that are available now through you guys.
Yeah, so I guess we started with retail premises because that's really the visible sign of vacancy rates. But essentially, if there's no one upstairs, there's no one to shop downstairs. And so Adelaide has a really high office vacancy rate at the moment. It's about 15.9% currently. And that's has come down a little bit in the last 12 months, but it is really quite high. And so that's something we're addressing by trying to entice people back into the CBD, showing these smaller office spaces that are really suitable for up-and-coming entrepreneurs or people that are testing a business idea that isn't reliant on the retail premises. And we've done that with a couple of examples. One is an indie game developer called Monomyth Games. They've got an office space on Peary Street, and what it's allowed them to do is to, instead of working out of the four of them that are part of this company, working from their individual homes, large data files trying to be transferred. They'd often put it on a USB stick and drive to each other's homes. Now they're co-located in the same premises. They've got access to a lot of the services the CBD offers, and so what they've been able to do is, develop their product faster, take it to market quicker in a better fashion, and that's been a really great result for them, and also for the property owner that's provided that property rent-free initially.
And long term, or medium term, I guess, the rollout of the faster internet service will certainly make a big difference in the city.
A fantastic initiative from the City of Adelaide. I think what's really heartening from my perspective, with my Renew Adelaide hat on, is that they're really focusing on all property types. They're not just looking at the large premium office spaces. They're trying to roll it out to some of the older buildings so that they get the benefits of this faster internet. I think that's where we'll see the CBD really pick up, from trying to attract these, app developers and entrepreneurial people that really need that fast internet.
Yeah. Do you think there's a bit of an impression that this is really aimed at the young people in the business sector now? Because it's not. Anyone can apply.
Yeah, anyone can apply, and to do so they can just go to our website at renewadelaide.com.au and sign up for property alerts there. As soon as we get access to a property rent-free, they'll get an email in their inbox, and that's all they'll ever receive from us. Look, it's not just targeted at young people. We've had a few success stories of people that are older, and there's certainly a generation of older people that are starting new businesses as they finish their kind of career, that they're looking to be an entrepreneurial type person. So I'd encourage anyone that's out there that has a great idea to give me a call.
And we've seen that with Leatherworks. Is that the one in Region Arcade? That's like another example, having that and then Created Range, which was there at the time, like two totally different businesses, but with older and younger.
Yeah, Leatherworks Adelaide is a great example. Rob McRae had a really successful career in the automotive industry, running upholstery factories, I guess, for seats in cars. He was originally trained at the Jam Factory, so great design success story there in Adelaide. And then he's gone on to make bespoke handmade leather goods out of a shop in Region Arcade.
There you go. Classic example, isn't it? Yeah. I'll get you to put your headphones on, gents. We've got a call from Cassandra in town. Hi, Cassandra.
Hello, how are you going?
You've got a question for the team?
Yes, it's actually for Tim. Tim, what is the difference between Renew Adelaide and Renewal SA?
So the difference between Renew Adelaide and Renewal SA?
Yeah.
Thanks, Cassandra. So Renewal SA is a state government agency. They're charged with developing land around Adelaide, creating visions for it. So that's where you'll see places like Bowden, the Port Adelaide waterfront, St Clair are all big state government agency-backed projects. Renew Adelaide's a not-for-profit organisation that does rely on funding through the State Government of South Australia and the City Council, but we are private, independent, and that's what allows us to be nimble and work directly with property owners and take on some of the risks that a state government agency wouldn't be able to do.
But it's not a government instrumentality?
That's correct.
It's not a government department. All right,
so
Cassandra?
one's the agency and one's a non-profit?
That's correct.
Yeah, thank you.
All right,
Thanks.
good question. Good to clear that up too, because probably a few people might have been confused with that. Caleb, what's next for you then?
Well, basically, coming into the year that we've had the office space, we've kind of had to rework, who's working out of there and where it's actually going. So we have about 4 other creatives in Adelaide who work in there who aren't associated with YEWTH. So one of them is David Morsh, who actually helped build Neon Forest in Royal Croquet Club. Yep. So there's a lot of different projects happening out of the office. And for us, for a print magazine, we are basically breaking even with what we're doing, and it is successful, but for us to actually use and make the most of the space, we've had to get other people in there and involved in what we're doing. And I think the power of that is not a lot of people, but some people will find, in the creative world, whether they're doing photography or making videos, where they don't want to really align themselves with other people doing it because it's about the competition.
Yeah, exactly.
But what we've found is, rather than removing ourselves from other people that are doing that work, to actually collaborate with them, it's allowed us all to move forward. So I think for us, it's going more down that creative agency type of road where there is opportunity to make money. And I mean, last weekend we had Dave Court and Lewis Bridson, who run YEWTH with myself. They were doing a video clip in there for a new band in Adelaide called Wing Defence. So there's, we've had art exhibitions in there as well for Sala. What else have had? Film premieres in there. It's kind of adapting and changing with what other people are doing, but allowing them to come into the space and add to it. So it used to be the old People's Choice Bank.
Yeah.
So there's a little teller in there where we took the panels out, the glass bit where you'd get your money from the teller kind of thing, and we use that now as a bar area for events kind of thing. So it's kind of that's a good thing too with the kind of space you get. Renew Adelaide, I remember, were talking with us because we were under the Own It program, which is a bit different to all the. Do you want to talk a bit more about?
Yeah, the Own It project was just an initiative that we ran last year, and this was specifically targeted at young people, in reference to your comment before, people under 25 to try and start a new business in Adelaide, and that was what was really important about, I guess, creating a culture where young people want to stay in Adelaide.
So, you know, the team at Renew Adelaide kind of worked with us once we had our application in and said, well, what do you want from the space? We could just have an area like we're in now at 5AA and just have normal office desks, but we were like, we'd actually like to do events because that could be a new way for us to make money out of the office, and really just being able to adapt with the space we have. Even the kind of desks we have are quite large, and we can kind of pack them away for when we do have other stuff happening in there. So it's just, being able to find the right space that works for you and then just building on top of that has been great.
And thinking outside the square is part of the main secret.
Really about repurposing properties in a new way to bring new life into them.
But then, like I said, it's not just about us keeping running the publication. It was looking at how can now this publication move on to something else and grow from there. Yeah.
Great initiative and fantastic success rate, Tim. Well done, and we'll look forward to that graph keeping on up.
Thanks
and up.
Very much, Alan.
Good on you.
Great to be here.
So details again. Log on to
renewadelaide.com.au. You can sign up for our property alerts there. They'll get directly into your inbox whenever we have a property that's rent free and up for grabs.
Fantastic. There you go. That's a good initiative. So if you've got an idea that's been rumbling around in the back of your mind for some time, now might be the good time to act.